TDX has changed a lot ever since it was released 2 years ago, and many aspects of the game have changed for better or worse. There are several things in this game that have changed for the better, like the replayability due to more content. The balancing has improved greatly. Even if it isn't perfect, it's better than spamming laser gunner in every game mode. And the grind has immensely improved compared to how it was when the game first launched. With all of these aspects that have gotten better over time that I just listed, it may seem like this game has only gotten better as time has passed, but if you look closely, that's not the case necessarily. There were several selling points to TDX that were heavily advertised by John early on in the game's lifespan. John would hype stuff up like the line of sight mechanic, the tower death mechanic, the fact that the towers all had 2 upgrade paths, and many other things.
See on the bottom, the speed. So players will be able to speed up the gameplay by twice as fast. So the first 20 waves or so, you can speed by really fast instead of just playing the same damn boring game. Because there's 2 paths in this game. There's not one path. I finally showcased it. And you guys may notice the range, the circle thing on here. Do you guys see what's going on with that brick right there? Well, if you take a look at here, look at how the tower can't fire. It can only fire in line of sight.
And it was for a good reason. No other tower defense game on Roblox really had any of these mechanics, besides Tower Blitz having towers with 2 upgrade paths. Tower Blitz is a masterpiece, by the way. And at the time, these concepts seemed revolutionary for the genre on Roblox. However, most people were mainly excited for the addition of naval towers. Most Roblox tower defense games before TDX had 2 kinds of towers: ground towers and cliff towers. Ground towers were, well, towers that could be placed on the ground, which was around 90% of the map most of the time. On the contrary, cliff towers were towers that could be placed on cliffs. I know that's a shocking revelation. And cliffs were usually more limited places to put your towers generally, but the trade-off was that those towers would either be completely stun immune or a lot less likely to be stunned. Tower battles started this trend in Roblox tower defense games, and TDS carried it on and made it a lot more popular. Meanwhile, Tower Blitz only had ground towers because it was genuinely on a different level. These tower types seemed fine, but there was a major issue that plagued them, which was the fact that the idea of a tower that you have to place on a cliff didn't really make that much sense. I mean, what's stopping a sniper from being on the ground or a mortar being on the ground? Sure, you could try to boil it down to just being video game logic, but even from a gameplay perspective, it just felt like a needless restriction on how you could place certain towers, and it added essentially nothing to how you play the game. On the other hand, the idea of a water tower made a lot more sense. Despite still being a restriction on how you can place certain towers, at least it actually makes sense that you have to put naval towers in water because they're boats. I mean, that's kind of where boats go. Plus, having giant bodies of water on the outskirts of the map where these towers will be placed allows naval towers to be somewhat more accurate in terms of scale. And who wouldn't prefer placing down a massive boat instead of just placing down a guy with a gun? This concept wasn't the most innovative idea ever, but it was a breath of fresh air to see uniquely themed towers that weren't just somebody with a weapon of sorts, and that's the reason why a lot of people were excited to see this in a Roblox tower defense game. And when TDX finally released on the 21st of November in 2023, people realized they had to be level 150 to unlock Warship, and the tower wasn't actually even available to the public until more than a month after the game's release. But at least there was Patrol Boat, so I guess that's cool. Even though the game had just been released, it was evident that there were already problems with the naval towers, and that was how many maps had a sufficient amount of water for these towers, or lack thereof. Even with how limited the pool of maps was, there weren't that many maps that actually had enough water in the right places for either Warship or Patrol Boat to be viable, and a lot of maps just didn't have any water at all. It was obvious there was a problem here when the feature that was heavily portrayed as a major selling point to the game simply couldn't be used on a majority of the maps within the game. Some people complain about this fact, but it never really garnered that much attention from the community nor the developers, so nothing really changed for a while. But certainly they've fixed this issue, right? Right?
No.
Literally nothing has changed about naval towers in TDX except for some small balance changes, and that's it. Not a single water tower has been added into the game since Warship was made available to the public. And not only that, but the lack of maps that have enough water to allow the usage of these towers has only gotten worse because a majority of the maps added into the game after release have had little to no water to support these towers. Just why? I think the most agitating part about all of this is the fact that not a single naval tower has been added since launch. That is just absurd to me, especially when thinking about how long this game has been out. I know that patrol boat and warship cover a lot of roles that you would need a naval tower to play, but I just know they could have thought of something else as an idea for a new water tower. Anyways, let's take a look at how many maps in this game allow for water towers to be viable, and I'm only looking at the pool of maps from the normal game modes. I won't be including any event maps here. Anyways, here it is. Here's a list of every main map in TDX that allows the usage of naval towers, and as you can tell, it's not a lot. Less than a quarter of the main maps not allowing the use of water towers is absolutely unacceptable in a game that was supposed to be known for water towers in a way. There's only 14 normal maps where warship can actually be used, but it's even worse for patrol boat, which can only be used on 10 whole maps. 10! Ignoring everything else for a second, can we talk about the pure disrespect that Patrol Boat has been shown for years by this game? Patrol Boat is a well-designed tower. Even if I do think it could be buffed, it's fun to use this tower when you can actually use it. But the thing is, there's barely any maps that allow you to even use this tower. This has to be one of the most neglected towers in the game. All in all, I really wish TDX would stop ignoring old game mechanics that were supposed to innovate the genre on Roblox. The idea of naval towers seemed like such a great idea to me and many others, and that idea was just wasted in practice. Having only 14 of the total 52 normal maps allow for the usage of naval towers is ridiculous, and Patrol Boat can only be used on 10. This is something that needs to be talked about more in the TDX community because this is an issue that has existed for years, and we really need to advocate for something to change more. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.
Honestly, I don't even care anymore. It's over. Listen here, GDI, Swagger21, or John Roblox. You nerfing my favorite towers is gonna make me lose it. And you don't want to see my dark side.